Right here.
Oh. I did see Laura too. And I just really first want to acknowledge the Bay School is just an amazing place, and I think that the way they assembled everything was extraordinary and very, 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 very powerful. And so I'm really, really grateful that you've had that experience. And so for those of you who weren't at the ceremony, I think you missed something really, really, really fantastic. And what's interesting is that a lot of what they had to say is very much similar to what I have to say. And so some of this is repetitious, but I think it's worth repeating because the Bay School is sort of amazing. I think you're amazing, Luke, and I think that that the message, the follow-on message that they gave is just too true. So on behalf of all of us, Jude, Jeanette, and myself, I want to thank everyone for being here today to celebrate this huge milestone in Luke's life. I know that it's Friday, and I understand that it took some compromise for all of you to be here. As I prepared to attend Luke's graduation ceremony, I started to think about the many accomplishments and the process that unfolded that brought him here today. Of course, there's absolutely no way of listing all of them, but there are definitely several that come to mind. He has played many roles in performances at the New Conservatory Theater, as well as the Bay School, and even in some communities theater, such as in El Cerrito, where he played in Kiss Me Kate. And not only did he have the opportunity to be in these performances, but he often earned the privilege of playing key roles in many of them. His senior project was amazing, and while I don't know where it is right now, I think it's at school. I would suggest all of you ask him about it and take a look at it someday at some time when you can, because I think you'll really enjoy it. He worked many summers as a teacher's assistant. He did volunteer work in our local community. He's taken advantage of the extraordinary lessons and knowledge that the Bay School has taught him. He has enough ribbons earned from swimming competitions to string from here to Seattle, where he'll be attending Seattle University.
Hey.
And then I thought about Lucas as a person and the characteristic that he displays to the world. And in this space, I see kindness. He is always very polite and thoughtful. Courteousness, respectful to others. Intelligence. Thank God he got something out of Live Oak and the Bay School. Creativity. Not only in his ability to perform, but also in the many projects that he's done outside of school. Sensitivity. God, if you only knew. So Luke, we as parents have given you wings, and now it's up to you to fly and to make your way in the world. The whole world is in front of you. Of course, we will always be here to support you, but it'll be you who makes the choices that will define who you are. Remember that at the end of the day, that we all only have two things that define us: our integrity and our self-esteem. Integrity is how others see you. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. These two things will define who you are and how the world sees you. For this reason, each decision you make should be measured against it. And I found a few quotes that spoke to me, and I wish to send them off with you. These two are from Gandhi. Strength. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Change. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. And finally, there are two Chinese proverbs that I think fit here. The first is, if you're in a hurry, you will never get there. And finally, set yourself as the standard. And I hope you know that Mama, Mommy, and I love you and are very proud of you.
That was beautiful.
Really? Really? Thank you.
Next.
definitely the broad range of people I've known throughout my life here. Very, very not unexpected, but you know, you've got your different universes in the world, you know, and I think that there are a lot of my different universes here today, and I'm glad that you're all here because I mean, I could just have sort of one sort of family extension, or you know, another, or just a group of friends, but I'm glad that you're all here and all representing a different part of my life and development. So I'm glad you were all able to hear that, and most of you were able to be at the ceremony, which I was very happy with.
Thanks for talking.
All right.
Together. So now, if anybody else has any comments,
Well, this is completely silly.
I don't even know if it'll be funny, but just, I remember when you were born. I remember the day, the weekend, if it was a weekend, it was like this just period of
Sunday morning.
the Sunday morning. And I wasn't even supposed to be there, but somebody else was not, and I got to be there and hang out. And
Your number came up.
my number came up. Oh, okay. So, but I remember, you know, that whole time as being like kind of in this time warp, and this really incredibly wonderful, peaceful, you know, joyful time, you know, with your moms and waiting for you. And I remember being in the room when you were born, which was like not an easy birth.
I have to hear about that. Wow. That's like a there now. Okay.
But and when you emerged, you had the pointiest head. You had like the pointiest head of anybody, and I guess that, you know, is like maybe it was just a sign of things to come. You know, that you would like. You have focus.
I don't know if focus is really
and
the
maybe
word
this
to
is like
use.
about your core, that there's focus in your core, and
You like the head of the spear.
you got a good
That's
strong
Pointy head.
mind.
Yeah.
See, told you.
That was great.
Because I was there too.
And we planned for you for a long time. You know, we were all part of this group of lesbians considering parenthood, and we considered and talked and considered and talked and planned and got all strategic and worked really hard. Just do it. And I felt so honored that I got to be there when you were born. And I totally remember, oh my God, it was, Jude's face was beet red, and Jeanette was holding her and saying, I know this is really a lot to ask, but you have to push some more. And then when your head came out, I thought it was the back of your head, and I thought it was like about this big. But that was just the top of your head. The whole thing comes out facing it. I went, whoa! So it was this amazing event, and you know, I mean, look at all these people who are here because of you, and there was just this community that developed around having you and planning for you, and the joy that you brought into my life and the lives of the people who were around you. And I got to live with you when you were a baby, and I got to bring you to my house every Thursday when you moved out, and I got to put you to bed at night, and then your moms would come to pick you up, and I'd have fallen asleep, and they'd be calling me on my apartment phone to get in, and I would be dead asleep next to you, and it was just this precious thing that was such a gift to me. And I just have to tell one other little story about you. One time you're a toddler, and you said to me, you got this strange look on your face like toddlers get, and you said, my friends are coming out my butt. So hilarious and so classic look of like your friends coming out your butt. So this is, you know, what you gave to us. This is what it was like to be around you. That, you know, that this bowel movement was a hilarious, dramatic event. So I feel honored to be
That's a
part
great
of that.
story.
You've grown.
Well, I think I should have said something before the birth part, because I won't go into too many details, but I feel very responsible for you being here. And there would not have been a birth if there, I mean, I know Charles and Jude had something to do with it.
That's something to do with it.
A very important role in making sure that you actually, you know,
Get together.
Yeah, you know, what do you call it? The egg and the seed or whatever.
Sperm.
Sperm.
Good, Catherine. You're in health.
You're really out of Oh.
They join. So, you know, I always feel a very strong kinship to you. And what else? I guess I'm a little. I was actually at a funeral earlier today of a woman who died quite young, about our age. And so it just really brought home for me the importance of friends and family and community. I just really love what you said about just having all these different parts of your life here, you know, because everybody's here sort of surrounding you and it's your community, even if they aren't all part of the same thing. It's a lovely thing to have in your life.
All right, I will say just a few words. Oh, go ahead.
Moving on, we came here. Beth and I had stayed in Chicago, and Jude and Jeanette came through when Jude was pregnant, so we missed all the free stuff. But we basically moved here so that we could raise our sons together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Two beautiful sons.
You're the best.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. So emotional.
Well, you know, to go back to the birthday, the first birthday, there's an image that's indelibly marked in my mind of course, Jude was in labor, and I was in there in labor with her, but I came out to the waiting room every now and then, and I would check in with Charles and Charles' friend Jeffrey, who was sitting in the waiting room chairs on these little plastic chairs with a bag of potato chips between them. And Charles had knitting needles that smoke were coming out of. I swear to God. His needles were clicking, clacking, clicking, clacking so fast. And every once in a while, he would take a handful of chips and he'd go back to the knitting. And his friend Jeffrey, same thing. Both of them were just like, I mean, you could tell it was a very stressful situation because they couldn't be in there.
Right.
All the lesbians, of course. Oh yeah, I'm in there. I'm going to be in there with the birth. But they were so great. They were out there in the hallway, knitting the booties and the whatever, the blankets that you had for the first few years of your life. And soon after you were born, Luke, Charles came around the corner and peeked in, and the look on his face was...
Actually, you don't remember I was in the room.
When he
I
was?
was there when he was born.
Oh, good. When I was able to...
Oh, your attention was somewhere else.
Anyway, when I saw
can
your
imagine, I
face,
can
it was
totally
amazing.
But that's okay. The story's still true.
And, you know, I... excuse me, flowers. But those of you who have been to birthday parties before know that I usually just write down a few things, you know, a few little things.
Oh.
I just thought maybe this would be the good time to
I got
go
you.
for
You're good.
my poem that I wrote for your graduation, Luke. And I hope that I can, you know, get through it. Actually, the form that I chose this year is haiku. So,
All right, damn it, get your ass out here.
My poem is: such pride in our son, whose path yet undetermined, love will be the guide.
Aw. All that paper for that?
I just wanted to get you scared.
Oh man, I said a long play. I thought we were going to have 20 minutes. Woo! I like that.
Up memory.
I know. Oh my god.
I was stealing myself.
I need more tape.
Okay. Well, so you know me. Julie got to spend